Remelan Acharyalu, Professor in Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering, St. Peter's Engineering College, Hyderabad. Today, I am going to discuss about the properties of the system, which is in signals and systems actually. Already, you know that what are the advantages or applications of the signals and systems. Generally used to take signals and systems in the important applications in biomedical engineering, for example. What are the applications of the signals and systems in biomedical engineering? Which is the ECG is used to predict heart diseases. This is one of the signal to identify the heart disease at all by using of the ECG, which is relates to the signal. And ECG, which is the useful for normal study and the abnormal behavior of the brain also, which is a very excellent application. This is a very important application in the biomedical engineering in signal, right? And the X-ray images are used to predict the bone fractures as well as the tuberculosis. These also very important. Already know that the orthopedic doctors has to suggest if any break in leg or hand, whatever it may be. So in that perception, in that connection, they are going to give some suggestion to take X-ray. So this is also signal related. And the ultrasonic scanning images of a kidney and the gallbladder is used to predict the stones. So this is also one of the a good application of biomedical engineering. And the MRI scan, which is already know that normally if any problem is there in body, automatically they are suggesting that you must have to take the MRI scan for a minute or the inner details of any part of the human body. So this is also you know that. And the ultrasonic scanning images, which is also identified the abnormalities in a baby. So these applications which we are connecting with the biomedical applications. So, and we'll coming to the speech processing, for example, the second speech processing, which is the speech compression, the decompression to reduce the memory requirement of a storage system. This is a speech compressing and the decompressing to reduce the memory requirement of a storage system. So this is the application in speech processing, and it may be effective use of the transmission channels. This is for example, you say that the compression and expanding, both decompression, both already you know that. For example, you say that the zip folder, what we do actually, if it is in a gigahertz, that should be gigabytes of storage, that should be compressed to certain extent, like it may come to the 500 MB like that. So therefore there is a compression or decompression. And the speech recognition for the voice operated systems and voice based security systems, these are the excellent application of the speech processing. And the recognition for the conversion of a voice to the text also. There is some good application of Microsoft. Already know that if the message is there, if you have to go to that application, it should read out automatically. So the conversion, the speech synthesis for various voice-based warnings or announcements. So this is also one of the good application is speech processing for this the signals. And the audio and video equipment, already know that audio and video equipment, and the audio and video compression for the storage of the DVDs, right? And the music synthesis and the composing using the music keyboards. These are the audio and video equipment wise. And the communication, already you know that the communication, the spectrum analysis modulated signals help to identify the information bearing frequency component that can be used for a transmission. If you will take a communication system, we consist of the three equipments like three parts, generally transmitter, channel and receiver, like that. So therefore, how the transmission is going on from the transmitter to the receiver, that is through the channel or the free space, already you know that. So the analysis of signals received from the radars, which are used to detect the flying objects at this their velocity. If you are coming to the further in our engineering final year, we have one of the applicative subject, that is the radar engineering. What actually done in radar actually? In radar engineering, we used to find the object velocity, or the how much distance from our place. The two things should be identified. And what is the velocity of that? So many things is there in that. So that is completely dependent on the signal sending from the antenna to the object, and the signal will be hit on the object surface, and one of the part 1 ppm should be come back, that is called the echo signal, which is coming back towards the antenna, and it should be received by the antenna by through duplexer. It is again retransmitted towards to the receiver set, and whatever the object in the sky, that should be identified, and which will be displayed on the radar display unit, that is VD, you say that visual display units like. So that is also a good application, the communication. The echo and the noise cancellations in the transmission channels, which is also one of the important thing in signals and systems. And generation and detection of the DTMF signal, dual tone multiple frequency signals in a telephone. That is also a good application. So we'll coming to the another way, the power electronics, image processing, and geology, astronomy. There are a lot of applications is there, which will be relates and what the importance of the signals and systems in all fields. Now we are coming to this, the systems. So system is already you know that. What is the system generally? We say the system is, it consists of input and output signal generally, right? What is the system basically? System consists of the input and output with somewhat processing in its, right? For example, you say that if any company need to establish, it requires some capital amount. And what we are expecting from the output of the company, that will be, if you are providing to the company in the 50 lakhs, that is a capital amount to that establishing a small scale industry. So while you are getting somewhat outputs, that is 75 lakhs, like that you will get the output, and how much profit you will get, that is depends on the input. And similarly, if you will coming to that, the one form of energy should be transformation to the other form by using of the system. It may be system we consider in a different manner. Any process that exhibits the cause and effect relation can be called a system. System will have an input signal and the output signal, already know that. The output signal will be a processed version of the input signal. A system is either interconnection of hardware devices or the software or algorithms like that, and it consists of a system generally used to take the system will be sorry. This is the system, you say that you take, this is the input, and here this is the output like this, and it is called the system. We have the n number of what we call the inputs is there, n number of outputs is there like this, then the output by input is, yeah, just you observe that here. Yeah, if you'll take what is the system generally, you used to take, this is called a system, and here it is the output, and here it is the input. You say that is input and output. So how you are saying that if you are giving some input to the system and will get the output, so that means the operation performed by a system on input signal to produce the output signal, and it can be expressed as a transfer function which is indicated. Generally you say that the output you can call it as y, input you call it as x, whatever it may be, and the transfer function is there. Transfer function you say that the h, whatever it may be, this is a transfer function, you say that, and you will take this is called x. So what is the general transfer function? H is equal to y by x, that is the transfer function generally, right? So this is about the system, and the system can be classified, and it is depends on a lot of characteristics in the system. And what types of systems we have? The electrical system is there, mechanical system is there, thermal system is there, hydraulic systems is there, and the different types of the systems, and it depends on input and output signals generally. And the systems can be classified into the two categories. One is the continuous time system, another one is the discrete time systems. What is a continuous time system? A system which can process a continuous time signal is called the continuous time system. And what is that actually? So here the input and output signals of a continuous time system are continuous time signals. That is the continuous time system. And if you take here what we observed, that the system consists of a output and input. Input is x, output is y, and h is the transfer function. So for continuous time system, which is the continuous time system, is denoted by the h like this. This is the continuous time system a denotation like this. The input of a continuous time system is x of t, you say that this is x of t, which is, and here output is indicated by a y of t. Just you will take y of t is equal to h into x of t. This is the continuous time system, right? So in continuous time system, just to observe that here how it is you use it as a continuous time system. Just you will take this is the continuous time system which we have. This is called the continuous time system, which is indicated like this h, and you will take the input, you say that x of t, and you say that the output is the y of t. This is the continuous time system, right? This is CT, continuous time system, CTS. This is a representation of the CTS. And similarly, used to take a discrete time system. How you are going to take a discrete time system, which is also similar? Already you know that what is the difference between continuous and discrete time systems. So here, just to observe that the discrete time system, which is instead of t, you say that the n. So therefore, this is a system. It consists of output and here input. You say that the input will be indicated by x of n, and the output will be indicated by y of n, and this is the h transfer function, you say that. So this is called the discrete time system, DTS. What actually the discrete time signal? A system which can process discrete time signal is called the discrete time system, and it consists of input and output with the time system, the discrete time system, or the discrete time signals, previously continuous time signals. So this is about the difference between the continuous time and discrete time signals. So how you write the relation of the output and input of this, the discrete time system, which is indicated by y of n is equal to h of x of n. Previously what we have for the continuous time system, y of t is equal to h into x of t. But here y of n is equal to h into x of n. So this is the main difference between the continuous time and the discrete time systems. Okay, so every system consists of different properties. What are the properties we have? The properties of the system, we need to take what are the properties? The different characteristics of the system, the properties of the system are the stability, memory, causality, as well as the invertibility and the time invariance and the linearity. The 6 properties of the system is there. So we are going to talk about the first properties. So that is the stability. What is the stability? A system is said to be a bounded input and bounded output, BIBO. Bounded input and bounded output, BIBO, stable if every bounded input results in a bounded output. That is the which satisfies the BIBO system. That is called good stability. It satisfies the condition. So it consists of continuous time system, x of t input and y of t output. So h is there. The operation h, which is indicated by is the BIBO stable, bounded input and bounded outputs. So if the output signal satisfies this condition, then the stabilize that system. If we take y of t is always less than or equal to the my, which is in between, it is less than infinity for all the time t, right? And whenever the input signal x of t satisfies the condition the same, x of t is ms in between the what we call the x of t and the infinity for all the time. So therefore my and ms are the finite positive numbers, you say that. These two are the finite positive numbers. Then the system is stable with the exact bounded input and bounded outputs like that. So now we will coming to the what is the exact the property. For example, used to take the unstable systems. Already you know that bounded input and bounded output, which system is satisfies, that is the stability. If the stability is not there, for example, you say that in electronic circuits, we used to take the stable oscillator, that is called the crystal oscillator. The rest of all oscillators are not stable oscillators. That's why we are going to use the in communication system most of the time the crystal oscillators, right? So that type of oscillators will produce the stable oscillations, right? Stability is more compared to the other. And similarly, just you will coming to this, this is the what we call deterministic or the randomness, that is also there. But later we'll discuss this one. So here, example of unstable systems. So some of the systems which is unstable like this, so some bridges and all like this, that is unstable. The Tokama Narrow suspension bridge, this is unstable system, which was collapsed in 1940 November 7. For the understanding purpose, we will visualize this bridge. Collapsed due to the wind-induced vibrations. So due to that, this system is fall down and collapsed. So that is called the unstable system. So now we'll coming to this. This is a good example. What is the bounded input and bounded output is satisfied, then that is the stable system. If it is not satisfied, that is called the unstable system. So this is the best example for the unstable system. Now we'll coming to this good example. How we are making this example to understand the stability of the system. They consider the moving average system with the input and output relation, which is the y of n is equal to 1 by 3 x of n plus x of minus n plus of x of n minus 2. Show that the system is BIBO stable. I mean, binary bounded input and bounded output states. both. That is, we assume that the x of n is in between and the ms is in between. We say that x of n and the infinitive. Here it is a discrete system because it indicates that the y of n, x of n like that. So therefore, for all n, ms is in between x of n and to the infinitive, right? And therefore, you take y of n is equal to 1 by 3, whatever the problem given, 1 by 3 x of n plus x of n minus 1 plus x of n minus 2 like this. Just we will take, this is 1 by 3 as usual. So therefore, x of n which is the ms already know that. So plus x of n minus 1 which is also the previous one. So therefore, it is ms, again x of n minus 2, this is also ms. So therefore, finally you will get the 3 ms by 3 which is equivalent to the ms. Bounded input results in the bounded output. You say this is the stable system by understanding purpose, right? So you may take the general simple example for understanding only. This is the BIBO is satisfied here, so therefore the system is stable. Now we'll consider the discrete time system whose input and output relation is defined. Just you will take y of n is equal to r power n into x of n, where r is greater than 1, show that the system is unstable. So you may assume that the input signal x of n satisfies the condition. What is the condition? Already know that my is in between y of n and infinitive, and ms is in between x of n and infinitive. That is the condition satisfaction for the BIBO. So now we assume that the signal x of n satisfies the condition ms is in between equal or to in between x of n and infinitive, and therefore whatever the given signal, the y of n is equal to r power n into x of n. So now r power n into x of n mods, r for n is diverges as n increases, right? So therefore, this is n increases. If you will take it to x of 2, r power 2 like this, so system is unstable. It should not be linearity. So therefore, it will get the outputs is a little bit different, which is not bounded. Okay, the properties of the system. That is the first property. Stable and unstable is completed. Now we are coming to the memory system. What is the memory system? What is the memory? A system is said to possess the memory if its output signal depends on past or future values of the input signal. Okay, what is actually a memory system possesses a memory if its output signal depends on past or future values of the input signal. If you will take like this, this is a system which we have input and output. You say that if you will take y of n output is there, but here x of n output is there. So if it is past inputs or the future inputs, that means x of n minus 1 and x of n plus 1. These inputs, the output is depends on x of n minus 1, x of n plus 1. So that system is called the memory system. What is a memoryless system? Output depends only on the present value of the input signal. That means what is actually, if you coming to this is the x of, you will take, generally used to take for this this is generally used to take for the memory system means y of n depends on x of n minus 1 and x of n plus 1. But in memoryless system, this is a memory. This is a memory system. If we come into the memoryless system, y of n depends on x of n. This is the memoryless system. That means the present input. That is the main difference between these two. So the good examples for this is a resistor. You say that the example is a resistor. I of t is equal to what? According to the Ohm's law, V by R. V of t by R. This is the memoryless. That means only it depends on applied voltage, input voltage only. There is no the future and past like this. So therefore, this is a good example for the memoryless system. If you're coming to that the RLC category, in that the inductor have the memory system, right? I of t is equal to 1 by L integral of minus infinite to t into V of V into dV. This is about the memory system. This is a good examples for this. So to try to understand here. So if we'll make any industry or company, what you are take into the account, what the input, the previous inputs, what we got, and future inputs, what we got, that is called the memory systems. Right, of course, memoryless means whatever input we are giving, we will get output. That output is depends on only a present input. There is no need to take the previous and future. That means past and future. That type of system is called the memoryless system. So therefore, this is the main difference between them. Just we go through the example. If we take y of n is equal to x square of n, and then this is the memoryless system because of the y of n, there the x square of n. Of course, it is depends on the square of input, but the same. But here, what is the memory system? You say that here y of n is equal to 1 by 3 into x of n plus x of n minus 1 plus x of n. These the past inputs is required. So therefore, this is the memory input, memory system. First one is the memoryless system, second one is the memory system. So y of 0 equal to 1 by 3 of x of 0 plus x of minus 1 plus x of minus 2. This is the past inputs is required. So therefore, it indicates that the system is this is the memory system, this is the memoryless system, right? So therefore, what is the difference between them? In this second problem, it shows that the output of the system is completely depends on the past inputs. So therefore, it is a memory system. This is a memory system. But here it is a memoryless system, right? Try to understand. So now we'll coming to that the properties of the system. The next property, already we know the two properties. What is the system stability? Bounded input and bounded outputs. How the system is stable or unstable like that, already we discussed that. And second one is the memory and memoryless system. Memory system is the future and the past outputs take into the account. The output will be considered with respect to the past and future inputs. If the memoryless is, the output is take only present input. That is the main difference between them. Now we'll coming to the next property is the causality. What is the causality? A system is said to be causal if the present value of the output signal depends only on the present or the past value of the input signal. That means actually what happened here, the causality means it depends on either present or past values of the input signal only. There is no need of the future value of the input signal. So here that is called the causal. What is the non-causal? Non-causal means the output is depends only on one or more future values of the input signal. That is called the non-causal. So that means if you observe that, good examples for this, if you take a first one, what is the equation? Y of n is equal to 1 by 3 x of n, 1 by 3 x of n plus x of n minus 1, x of n minus 2. This is the present value, this is the past value, this is the past value. For the above definition, you say that which is matched to the first one, that is a causal system. If you are coming to this system, how the variation of the this and this, just you observe that the moving average system here 1 by 3 x of n plus x of n plus 1 plus x of n minus 2. But here one future value is there. Here this is the future value. So therefore, it come into the non-causal system. Okay. So that means causal system requires only present or past value, not the future values. But non-causal system requires the future value. That is about the difference between the causal and uncausal of the system. Now we'll coming to this. What is the causality? Already we've seen that. Now we are going to talk about the invertibility. What is the invertibility? Invertibility means you say that a system is said to be invertible if the input of the system can be recovered from the output. That is called the invertibility. Input of the system can be recovered from the output. Previously, what we have generally, only system which we have, we get only x of t is the input and we'll get only y of t is the output. Okay, the process will be there. This is a system, so therefore process will be there. Whatever process you will get, the output will get by using of the different properties and all. So, but here again, this is the transfer function. If you are getting, you are connecting the inverse function here, inverse function, inverse transfer function. So, just you will take, this will be connected here. This is the H inverse you say that, okay, H inverse. Then you will get the original signal, whatever you are applied, x of t, will get from this. This is called the invertibility. So, necessary condition for the invertibility, which is the distinct input must produce the distinct outputs. Okay, if you will give the whatever the signal here, Laplace transformation for example, Laplace signal you are given and you will get the transformation of the signal, the Laplace transformation. If you want original signal, you will apply the Laplace inverse and you will get the original signal will come out. This is about the invertibility of the system, right, which is indicated like this. And we'll go to the simple problem for the whatever the invertibility. Just will take, they show that the square law system describes by the input and output relation. Y of t is equal to x square of t is not invertible. So, if you are giving a distinct input signals, x of t and x of minus t, which produces the same output, right? So, therefore, it is the, you will give x square of t, they are given. So, therefore, x of t and x of minus t produce the same output. So, it is a square function, so it is not a invertible. Time invariance. What is the time invariance? A system is said to be a time invariant if a delay or the time advance of this input signal lead to an identical time shift in the output signal. So, therefore, that is what is a time invariant? There is no delays, there is no advance of the signal. That means actually what happened here. So, if you will take some function is there, this is the function, you say that the signal will be same, but you will take this is x of t, you say that. If you will take x of t minus 1 like this, it should be changing, delay or whatever it may be. So, therefore, here x of t minus 1 means you say that the delayed is there, for you will get like this. And if you will take x of t plus 1 like this, then you will get the signal will be advanced. So, these things will come into the picture if it is a variant. It is a time invariant means such type of things should not be occurs in this, the time invariance output with respect to the input. So, therefore, now we will come into this, the thermistor, you say, this is the thermistor, already know that. Thermistor is the positive temperature coefficient of resistance, right. So, therefore, here y1 of t is equivalent to the I of t. So, therefore, x1 of t which is equal to Vt minus like this is thermistor. The input output relation there of thermistor equivalent to the y1 of t is equivalent to the S1 of t by R of t. S1 of t by R of t. The response of y2 of the thermistor to input x of t minus t1, t naught. If you will take y2 of t equal to S1 of t minus t naught by R of t. So just to observe that here the shifting of the output y1 of t, which is equal to y1 of t minus t naught. So the same thing will be changed with respect to the numerator and denominator. For a thermistor R of t minus t naught, which is not equivalent to the R of t, for t is not equal to 0. In the similar condition, y1 of t minus t naught equivalent not equivalent to the y2 of t for not t is not equal to 0. Thermistor is a time variant. Okay, it is a time variant. Time invariant means it should not be changed, but here it is the changes. So this is called the time variant. Time invariant that should not be changed with respect to the time, right? So now the linearity. A system is a linear in terms of the system input x of t and the system output y of t if it satisfies the two properties. What are the properties required? The input and outputs both will be a satisfying property for the linearity of the given system. Just it requires the superposition property satisfaction and the homogeneity. These two are very important for this linearity of the system. So here the superposition, just will take x of t equal to the x1 of t, y of t equal to y1 of t. Similarly, x of t equal to x2 of t, y of t equal to y2 of t. Then you will get the x of t is equal to x1 of t plus x2 of t and y of t equal to y1 of t plus y2 of t. This is a superposition principle which is satisfied that the system is a linear. And the homogeneity. So the homogeneity is what x of t tends to the y of t, and you will take the same constant term is multiplied to the input. The same constant term is also multiplied to the output. That is called a homogeneity property. The two properties are satisfied, then the system will be a linear. So here just will take the a1 x1 of t plus a2 x2 of t equal to a1 y1 of t plus a2 y2 of t. This is the linearity property satisfied. So now we will take next properties of a system. For this, consider a discrete time system. For this example, discrete time system by the input and output relation y of n is equal to n into x of n, show that the system is a linear. How? Let the input signal x of n be expressed as weighted sum. You say that the x of n is equal to, this is discrete time system. So therefore you will take x of n is equal to sigma of I is equal to 1 to n ai xi of n. So the output of the system, which is equivalent to the n into sigma of I is equal to 1 to n in the ai into xi of n. So therefore here the output means what? Actually you will take y of n is equal to n into x of n. X of n already know that. That should be multiplied with the n. Then you will get the output y of n. So therefore n should be multiplied to the total thing. So therefore sigma equal to 1 to n ai n xi of n, which is again rewrite this equation sigma equal to 1 to n. So yi of n, because y of n is equal to n x of n. So therefore yi of n. So the system is a linear. Thus property homogeneity and the superposition property both will be homogeneity property is satisfied here. So therefore the system is a linear. Now you will take the next the same. Now this system is a linear or not, you have to identify, check whether its system is linear or not, linear check. So y of n is equivalent to the 2 into x of n plus 3, like that. So y1 of n is equal to 2x1 of n plus 3, y2 of n is equal to 2x2 of n plus 3. So therefore x3 of n is equal to x1 of n plus x2 of n, you say that. Similarly you say that the y3 of n is equal to, same principle you are applying here, 2 into of x1 of, what is the y of n is equal to what? Y of n is equal to y of n is equal to 2x of n plus 3, y1 of n is equal to 2x1 of n plus 3, y2 of n is equal to 2x2 of n plus 3. Similarly, but here x3 of n is equal to x1 of n plus x2 of n, we say that. So y3 of n is equal to what? Actually 2 x3 of n plus 3. What is the x3 of n? x3 of n already given here. Just 2 into x3, instead of x3 of n, you say the 2 into of x1 of n plus x2 of n plus 3. So again you rewrite that the 2x1 of n plus 2x2 of n plus 3. But here what you observed, the answer is, which is 2x1 of n plus 2x2 of n plus 3, which is not satisfied. If it is a plus 6 is there, this is satisfied. 2x1 of n plus 3 plus 2x2 of n plus 3, then it is satisfied. But here it is not satisfied. So therefore the system is a non-linear. That means system is non-linear, because which is not satisfies the superposition principle. So therefore the system is non-linear, right? So now we are going to talk about the next one. So you take tutorial. Y of t is equal to x by x of t by 2, the memory or the memoryless system. Already know that what is the memory, what is the memoryless system. If memory system is equivalent to the, if memory system, then it is satisfies that the past and present values. If it is a memoryless system, it depends on only a future value. So therefore y1 of y of 1 is equivalent to the x of 0.5. The output depends on the past value of input. So therefore the system is a memory, right? If the next y of t is equal to cos of x of t, invertible or non-invertible, this is another tutorial here. Distinct input must be give the distinct output. So therefore x of t and x of t plus 2n gives the same output. So therefore the same output it will give, that's why it is a non-invertible. So next y of n is equal to x of minus n, then it is a time invariant and time variant. If you will take a delay in input x of n minus n, so therefore the corresponding output y of 1 is equivalent to the x of n minus n, because y of n is equal to, because you say that here y of n is equal to x of minus n, but here what is the input delay in input is x of n minus n. So therefore you may apply it here the x of minus n, you say the minus n of n minus n. Just to delay the output, just you will take y2 of n is equal to y of n minus n, which is equal to x of minus of n minus n, like this, x of minus n plus n. So therefore you have to compare these two equations, this and this, both are not equal. So therefore it is a time invariant. It is a time variant, sorry, it's not invariant, right? So this is about the problem to identify whether it is a time variant or time invariant, like, okay. And the one more, if y of t is equal to x of t by 2, the linearity, time invariance, memory, causality, stability, the same problem they are given here. How here the 5 characteristics, 6 characteristics or 5 characteristics should be identify this problem, whether it is a memory system or not. First, this is a memory system because of past input we need to take, because y of 1 is equal to x of 0.5. So it seems that the past input depends on the past input, output is depends on the past input, therefore it is a memory system, clear. And you will take the linearity property. For example, x1 of t tends to the y1 of t, which is the equivalent to the x1 of t by 2. Similarly, you say that the x2 of t, you take y2 of t is equal to x2 of t by 2. So therefore x3 of t equal to a x1 of t plus b x2 of t. Similarly, y3 of t is equal to a x1 of t plus bx2 of t. So we have to apply that a x1 of t by 2 plus b x2 of t by 2. So therefore here just observe that a y1 of t plus b y2 of t, the linear, as it satisfies the superposition principle. Already know that the superposition principle will be satisfied. So here these all are the superposition principle is satisfied, then this system is the linear system. Linear system, because the superposition and homogeneity, both principles is satisfied, right? So this is about the linearity, and we will coming to this, the what is the causality of the system. Okay, just a minute. So here like this, what is the memory, already know that. This is also know that causality already know that. What is a causality? Generally it depends on the past input, so therefore it is a causal system. Stability, bounded input and bounded outputs, which is y of t equivalent to the x of t by 2. So therefore it is a stable, I mean the stability of the system. But the time invariance, if it is linearity property is satisfied, then automatically it is a time invariant. So now we'll coming to this, the causality of the system. Y of minus 1 is equal to x of minus 0.5. Output depends on its feature value of the input, so therefore it is a non-causal system, generally you say, already know that. So therefore the stability means, what is the stability here? This is the system is stable, already I told. The causality is a non-causal system, this is clearly. And the system is a stable, it satisfies the bounded input and bounded output like this, right? So therefore bs in between the x of t and infinity, and y of t, which is by is also in between the x of t by 2 to the infinity. So therefore the system is stable. Now y of t is equal to tx of t. If this system is stable or unstable, we have to justify that. Let x of t be the bounded, so therefore y of t will be unbounded, so therefore the system is unstable. T is unbounded, so the system is unstable automatically. And y of t is equal to the e power st. Just to observe that here, the y of t equal to tx of t, but so x of t is bounded, but t is unbounded, so therefore the unstable system. And here y of t is equal to e power st. Check for linearity, stability, time invariance and memory. You will take directly, it is a power, the futuristic signal. So the first you have to find the whether it is a linear or non-linear, like that. X1 of t equal to y1 of x1 of t tends to y1 of t equal to e power s1 of t, and x2 of t tends that the y2 of t equal to e power s2 of t. So therefore let x3 of t equal to a x1 of t plus b x2 of t, like that. So therefore you may write the equation, the ax1 of t plus bx2 of t. So here a e power s1 of t plus b e power s2 of t, but here which is not equivalent to the a y1 of t plus b y2 of t. So therefore the system is a non-linear, which is not satisfied the superposition principle and homogeneity. And the time invariance, how here take this is the time invariant of the delay input x of t minus t naught. So therefore y1 of t is equivalent to the e power s of t minus t naught, the delay output, which is y of t minus t naught equal to e power s of t minus t naught. So therefore the both equations are equal outputs, then it is a time invariant. The system is a time invariant. And the system is a memoryless, because it depends on only present input. Okay, so this is a memoryless. Yeah, just we'll see that the input and output of the system is shown. The determine if the system could be a memoryless and a causal. Already know that if we'll see that this is the x of t, x of t these two are the memory and causal systems here, because it depends on the present input, the past input, like that. So you have to consider that whether it is a memory or the non-causal system. So what is the non-causal memory? Already know that non-causal means it depends on only feature inputs, right? So now you may justify yourself whether it is because we did a lot of tutorials. Yes, the y of t is equal to sine 60 into x of t. Check for the memory, time invariance, linearity, stability, and causality. So here the present value of input depends on the present value of the output. Then the memoryless system, it is absolutely, because it's the memory system means it depends on the past and future values, but it is only a present value. It seems that it is a memoryless system, and delay input, which is x of t minus t naught, y1 of t equivalent to the sine 60 into x of t minus t naught. Delay output 2, you say that the y2 of t minus 2 equivalent to the sine 6 of t minus t naught into x of t minus t naught. So both y1 of t and y2 of t is not equal. Therefore, it is a time variant system. It should be varied with respect to the time. So therefore, it's not a time invariant, only time varied system. Time variant this is. Yeah. If you take x1 of t, the y1 of t already know that, y2 of t we know that. If we'll take the x3 of t equal to ax1 of t plus b x2 of t, then the y3 of t is equal to similar manner we used to take, and you have to elaborate this. Then a sine 6t x1 of t plus b sine 6t x2 of t. So therefore, already know that y1 of t is equal to sine 60 into x1 of t. So a y1 of t plus b y2 of t. So therefore, it satisfies the superposition principle. So therefore, this system is a linear system. Homogeneity also satisfied, and the output does not depend on the future value of the input. So therefore, this is the causal system. Yeah, this is the BS. Okay. If you take y of t is equal to sine 60 into x of t, sine 60 is less than or equal to 1. So therefore, y of t is bounded. The system is stable because it satisfies the bounded input and bounded output. So therefore, system will be a stable system. Now we'll check for the linearity, causality, time invariance, stability of a given one. First you take the yn of n is equal to n square into x of n. It is a linear system. Yeah, it is a time variant because with respect to the n values will be there. N is varied. If we take y of 2 is equivalent to the 4 into x of 2. So therefore, it is a time variant. If you come into the causal system means it depends on the future value also. So therefore, it is a causal system. And you will take the bounded input unbounded. So therefore, n is unbounded. So therefore, unstable system. Now we will coming to the second one, which is y of n is equal to x of 2n. So therefore, y1 of n is equal to x1 of 2n, y2 of n is equal to x2 of 2n. But you say that x3 of 2 n is equivalent to the x2 x3 of 2n is equivalent to the x1 of 2n plus x2 of 2n, like that. So again you know that the a1 of x1 of n plus b1 of x1 of n, like this, it is satisfied, then the system is a linear system here. If you will come into the time invariant, how the time, it should be varied because n is there, but here the double the n. So therefore, the futuristic values depends. So therefore, it is a time variant system, and it depends on the future values. So therefore, it is a non-causal system. So this is about the system properties, which we discussed the properties of the system and did a lot of tutorials on the simple problems. This is a waveforms what we take the y of t is equal to r of t plus 1 minus r of t plus r of t plus 2 like this. Okay, this is r of t plus 1. How you are taking is, this is just advanced, so therefore it starts from minus 1. If we will take minus r of t, minus r of t means, so this is starts from 0 but it is inverted. R of t plus 2, r of t plus 2, it is advanced again. So therefore here r of t minus 2, this is r of 2 t plus 2 means it is come back. So how we are going to draw the diagram here, which is start from that is the r of t minus 2. This is actually, it seems r of t plus 2, but here r of t minus 2. If we will take r of t plus 2 means, this is r of t minus 2. This is, so we will get, this is the signal. How we are taking is the combination of these, and you will get like this. Y of t, output of the system is like this. Okay, so here this is the sketch waveforms which we are getting the output by using of the input signals. These are the inputs, this is the output like. Okay, so now LTI systems, linear time invariant systems. If you will take a input and output is there, how the varying of the signal. So here this is a linear time invariant system, which is very important one in a signals and systems. So how the signal is varying and all like that. When a continuous time system satisfies the properties of linearity and the time invariance, then it is called the linear time invariant system for the continuous time systems. Okay, so most of the practical systems that we encounter in since the engineering are the LTI systems generally, right? So that means the input output and input output relations of the LTI continuous time system, which is represented by the differential equations generally. Okay, later we will discuss this. The linear time invariant system, which is the tools of analyzing the predicting the behavior of the LTI system. The system consists of input and output, already know that. The characterizing the LTI system, basically you say that the impulse response and the linear constant coefficient differential equations are differential equations, and that gives the insight into the system behavior and the useful in analyzing and implementing the systems. This is the LTI systems generally, right? So now this is the impulse response. The impulse response is defined as the output of LTI system due to a unit impulse signal, the input applied at time equal to 0. And similarly for the discrete function, you say that just you say this is exactly at the 0 point, the maximum will be there. This is the impulse response only at this point. So this is impulse at the 0 point level, right? So for the t equal to 0 and n is equal to 0, the similar, if you will take the two things generally used to take, just will take this is the 0 at this level, either t equal to 0 or n is equal to 0 for continuous time discrete time systems. This is impulse maximum at this point. Impulse response completely characterizes the behavior of any LTI system. If you will take the impulse response of a given system and it exhibits the behavior of a LTI system, any type of LTI system. So this is a more important, h of n or h of t, whatever it may be, depends on the type of system. Impulse response completely characterizes the behavior of any LTI system. Given the impulse response, and the output can determine for any arbitrary input signals. Like you say that the any type of arbitrary signal you will give the input, it can identify, it can determine the impulse response of the signal. Then you may identify the characterization of the LTI system, right? The convolution sum and convolution integral for the discrete signal and the continuous time LTI systems, right? So this is about the LTI systems. And the convolution, you say that the consider LTI system del of n, which is the h of n, applying the time invariance property, you say that the del of n minus k, which is tends to the h of n minus k, like that. They apply the principle of homogeneity. Already know that what is the homogeneity in the linearity conditions. So x of k and del of n minus k, which is equal to x of k into h of n minus k. Applying the superposition principle, and we will get the sigma k to infinitive. So therefore, the k minus infinity to the plus infinity to k. So x of k del of n minus k, which is, so therefore which tends to get the same. So minus infinite to plus infinite and x of k into h of n minus k. Then the input is weighted superposition of time shifted impulse output. It's a weighted superposition of a time shifted impulse responses. So this is about the convolution sum and all. These are the problems. In the next session, we are going to solve all the problems in this. Okay. Thank you very much for watching this video, which is helpful to the students.